Today we're going to show you how to do a tune-up on a 1999 Toyota Tacoma 2.4 liter. We'd also like to ask you to please like and subscribe and click on the link in the description below to visit our website. We're going to be able to do the tune-up today with using a few simple tools. A 16mm spark plug socket, or you should be able to use a 5/8 with an extension, also a small miniature flat blade screwdriver. You'll get your 4 spark plugs. Mine, I've already gapped, they're .031. Yours, you're going to want to check with the manufacturer's specifications to make sure you properly gap them. And you can also want to get a tool that looks like a fork that's going to help you remove some wiring. So pretty simple on the tools, and you also want some anti-seize compound that you're going to put on the spark plugs to make them easier to remove later. And we're going to also go ahead and change the spark plug wiring. Also, to our tool list, we're going to also want to add a 10mm nut driver that looks like this. We're going to go ahead and get started by taking off the clamps on the air intake over here. So we'll go ahead and loosen this one here. We're going to go ahead and loosen this one here, and also both right over here on the throttle body. We'll go ahead and loosen those so we could actually get this ready to be removed. Now we're going to want to go ahead and use the channel locks to move this hose clamp. We're going to loosen it and move it further over here so we can disconnect it. As you can see, just like that. Now we'll go ahead and remove this hose. This is where we're going to want to use our fork tool to remove the wiring harness, which, as you can see, we have one of the harnesses attached right here, and also the other one is attached. It's hard to see it. It's right over here. This is where we're going to use the fork tool to just go a little bit underneath and pull up on it, and it'll pop out. And you'll do the same on both. Now that we have the wiring harness disconnected, we're going to want to go ahead and remove the connector. This, we're going to go ahead and push in the tab right over here, and this is right on top of the air filter canister. And then we'll go ahead and slide it off. And now, as you can see, the wiring harness is detached. Now we're going to want to remove the hose off of the air filter canister right over here. It should just slide right off. And there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and slide off the other end. Okay, go ahead and have that off, and we'll go ahead and put that aside. Now we'll be able to go ahead and pop this off of the throttle body over here since we already have it loose. Alright, so now we're removed there. Now we're going to want to go ahead and disconnect our air hose right here. We'll go ahead and pull that off. And we're going to also disconnect this right over here. We'll just slide it out of here. And we'll just slide it out of there. So this is pretty much free now, other than one part of the wiring harness. And there is another half of the wiring harness you'll have to take off with the fork tool, which is right over here. You can just pop that out, then it will freely come out. Now that we have all the wiring harness and hoses disconnected, we'll be able to go ahead and slide this out. It will be a little bit hard to remove it, but it's best to remove it to be able to free up the space so we can pull out the wiring easier. And not only that, we're going to also take a look inside the throttle body. Alright, now that we have all that out of the way, you can see we're all freed up to be able to remove the spark plug wiring here, all 4, which will make it a lot easier. And also we're going to get a flashlight, and we're going to also inspect the inside of the throttle body here to make sure it doesn't need any other additional maintenance. It's too hard to see inside my throttle body with the video camera, but it is clean. If yours is not clean, you might want to go to the auto parts store to get some kind of additive to be able to clean out your air intake, because that can affect a lot of things. We're going to go ahead now and we'll remove the spark plug wiring. We're going to remove this here, right here, and this one. You're going to also want to be careful not to lose these clips either, because you're going to want to reuse them with the new wiring. So we're going to go ahead and first pop this one. It does take a little bit of work to pull it up. So we're going to go ahead and remove all 4 now. All right, now that we have our spark plug wiring removed, we're ready to now go ahead and remove all 4 plugs. So we're going to go ahead and get our socket ready. This is where you're going to use your 16mm spark plug socket or 5/8. You're going to want to make sure it is a spark plug socket. This way it'll have a rubber boot on the inside of the socket. And it's not a bad idea to go ahead and tape the socket to the extension, because you definitely don't want to have it fall off inside. So we're going to go ahead and put it in the first one and slide it down there. Alright, now we went ahead and inserted the socket. We're going to go ahead and loosen it now. Nice and slow. So you go ahead and turn it slow. Once you get it a little bit, it'll be hand tight. You can take off your socket and you can pretty much turn the wrench right over here. We'll turn it and pop out the socket. All right, we're now ready to remove our first plug, so we'll go ahead and pull it out. And as you can see, because we're using a spark plug socket, the plug stayed with the socket. So we're going to go ahead and remove the next spark plug. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing, insert it in the hole, make sure we're properly on the socket, and then we're going to go ahead and slowly loosen it. Now that we have the second one loose, we'll go ahead and remove that plug. And we're going to repeat the same process for the third and fourth plug. We've now went ahead and removed all 4 plugs. This is where we're going to want to use our anti-seize lubricant. We're going to put it on the threads of the spark plug, just very little. Use it very sparingly. We just want it not to seize up, so when we have to remove them again in a couple years, we'll be good. All right, now that we've went ahead and put on the anti-seize on the threads, we're going to go ahead and very carefully insert the plug back into the engine. Be very careful. Go nice and even, not to cross thread it. Now we're ready to go ahead and put in the second plug. Make sure you put it in very carefully. Once again, don't cross thread it. And also make sure that you consult your manufacturer for your specifications for gapping your plugs and torquing down the spark plugs. Now we're going to go ahead and follow the same steps for our third and fourth plug. And once again, be very careful not to cross thread it. Now we're ready to move all 4 spark plug wires, and pretty much you could use your small screwdriver right here, and you can actually just pull up from underneath the lip of it, and you'll see it'll pop off right there. And you repeat the same steps for all of them. Now that we've removed all the old spark plug wiring, we're ready to install the new wiring. As you can see, it's very straightforward with the spark plug wiring. It's all labeled just like the old wiring, 1 through 4, being 4 is the furthest away from the front of the engine and 1 is the closest. So we're going to go ahead and install them now. We're going to go ahead and start with number 4. We're going to go ahead and slip it underneath here, all the way to the back, and then we're going to go ahead and slide it in the hole, and we'll go ahead and push down. And you could hear it popping right there. Now we're going to go ahead and slide in the number 3. Go ahead and slide it in there. We'll put it down the hole, and we'll hear this one pop into position 2. And you heard that. And we're going to go ahead and repeat the same steps for plug number 2 and 1. And as you can see, when we go ahead and reconnect our wires, it is labeled too. So we're going to put the number 3 wire where the number 3 one goes, and also number 2, and the same vice versa, 1 and 4 over here. So we're going to go ahead and plug in those. We're going to go ahead and slip on our number 3 wire here first. And as you can see, it snaps right on. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with our number 2 wire. Now we're going to go ahead and slip in our other wire here. You can see that just snaps right into place, and we'll follow the same steps for the other 2 wires. Now that we have our wiring all reinstalled, it's very important to put back the wire connectors to hold down the wires to keep it away from the engine exactly how it was before, because you don't want the wires getting burnt. So go ahead and tie down the wires, make them look nice and pretty. Now, as you can see, we have all the wires nice and neatly tied down, so heat won't be a factor. You don't want anything touching where it's going to get really hot. So now we're ready to start putting it back together. Now we're going to go ahead and reattach our air filter to the throttle body. And yeah, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck slipping it in there. Make sure when you get it over here, don't bend any of the rubber when you reattach it to the throttle body. So we're going to go ahead and attach this now. We have it back in position. We're going to go ahead and reattach our hoses. We're going to go ahead and slide this on here. And now we're going to go ahead and slide this also back on here. And then we'll take a channel locks and slide the clamp back on over here. We've went ahead and reattached our hose clamp. We're going to go ahead and slide everything back in position. We're going to slide this back in here. Actually, we're going to pull this back out, and we'll go ahead and slide this in here. We'll slide this back in there. It'll clip right in, and also right over here. Then we'll go ahead and slide in. Now we're going to go ahead and reattach this back to the air filter canister. As you put it in, once again, you're going to be careful that you don't mash any of the hose ends in there. So you want to be very careful to put it in. Ready to tighten back down our hose clamps. You're going to want to make sure they're all properly in position and also re-inspect that any of the rubber boots are not pinched between anything. So we'll go ahead and tighten these two back down. We'll also have to position this into place over here and also right over here, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten that back down. Now we're ready to go ahead and reconnect our wiring harness to the air filter intake. So we're going to go ahead and slip this underneath here, snap that back on there, and then you're going to have the two plugs that you're going to have to slide back in here with the wiring harness. So we'll go ahead and snap in that one, and you see we have this one right here. We'll go ahead and snap that one in. Now you're going to want to double check and make sure you have everything connected properly, all your spark plug wires, you didn't leave anything out or any clips, and everything's all nice and neat. So now we're ready to go ahead and fire it up. I was having some issues where my Tacoma was a little bit hard to start, hard to crank over. So we're going to go ahead and start them up now. And as you can see, it fires right up. We'd like to thank you for watching. Please click on the link in the description to visit our website. Thank you.